Hey guys, and welcome back to Ruud Talk, episode 7. Me and Barbara again.
Good morning, Casper. First, good news. We could sleep 1 hour longer this morning.
Yeah.
How good is that? I mean, I was very, very grateful for this.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're in Paris already, and we haven't spoken since, I think, the US Open, and so many things have happened. But how are you generally feeling? A few weeks before the season has ended, it's been a very, very long year, as you said.
Yeah, every year is long. We keep talking about it, the players and, us, among each other. It's very long and it's exhausting, but you need to deal with it your way. And this part of the season is, in my eyes, maybe not where I typically do the best, but I'm always trying to improve. And last year, in a way, I kind of surprised myself that I was able to do quite well on the indoor, and especially, of course, in the Nitto Finals, where I was able to reach the final out of nowhere, really. And that has, that a result like that will kind of always stick to your mind, and hopefully, motivate you to play good on this indoor season. I don't play that many indoor tournaments, but this, because typically in February I choose to go other places, but here, in October, November, at the end of the year, we have no other choice.
Do you not like playing indoors so much? Why do you not play so many indoor tournaments? Yeah.
Indoor, in a way, it's nice, it's comfortable, because there's no wind, there's no sun, there's no the conditions are easy for us. But it also typically gives a lower bounce and faster courts and so on, so you don't get that kind of same life, in a way, out from the court and the bounce that you get on an outdoor hard court or other surface. So it is, like I said, comfortable to play indoor, because you don't have to worry about being too hot, too cold, wind, rain, so on. So in a way, it's nice. But I play most of the tournaments of the year. I try to play outdoor as much as I can. So, but it's obvious that in Europe, in October, November, it's not that easy to find great outdoor conditions anyways.
That's right. So you're still in the race, Casper. You're coming 11th, so things are open. Obviously, you have to have a great tournament. How much is that still, or is that on your mind? When you're starting to play now in Paris, that's something you, which is very present, or it is what it is, basically.
Yeah, it has been on my mind, the last couple of months. Since the US Open, the goal was to try to kind of have a couple of clutch tournaments and do well and make it to that 8th spot, even by when we were here in Paris, but I haven't been able to do that. So that's, in a way, been a bit disappointing, but you also have to give it credits to, Hubie and who won in Shanghai. It isn't looking great for me unless I do really well here in Paris, like you said. So obviously there's still a chance. And I remember some years ago where Jack Sock won in Paris and just made the finals a little bit out of no expectations, I guess. So I think I'm just going to play this week and just enjoy that this end of the season is near, and try to do one last push and finish strong, in a way. I mean, might be over here. I might have to play next week if that's gonna matter on the points, because there's still one more week after Paris. But I hope, of course, either I do good enough or bad enough, in a way, in Paris, that it can be done after here.
Yeah, I mean, all you can do is just to give your best, and then you see what happens. The good news is, in case you wouldn't qualify for the ATP Finals, there's holidays, maybe than expected. Will you take a break this winter, or will you, play a few exhibitions again, or what's the plan there?
Yeah, no, it's gonna be nice with a holiday. First of all, that's something that many tennis players look forward to, and I think most of the tennis players like going, to a warm place in south and a lot of us been a lot of people going to the Maldives many times, or Dubai, or places like this, because a lot of us are from Europe, and if you want to have a vacation in Europe this time, it's not easy to find a warm enough place in a way. So we are quite spoiled this way. We like the warm, we like the sun. So let's see. I haven't booked or planned anything yet. Depending, everything depends on the schedule, if I make it to Turin or not. But I will practice for some tough weeks, and then I will play a couple of exhibitions, not as intense as last year, but there are a couple offers to keep your match kind of form in place, because we start so early next year. I mean, I think my first match is going to be December 30th of the next season, so in a way I don't love that, honestly. It's you kind of feel like when the season is done, you're also done with a year in a way, but playing one more match in 2023 is going to feel a little
I know, yeah. You want to start on the 1st of January, right?
Or you want to start maybe the 3rd or the 4th. I mean, you have a couple of days to celebrate or whatever, and then you can start. But and it's also always a little refreshing with a new year for whatever you do, if it's tennis or other things. When you come back from like New Year's break, it's always, I think, refreshing to come back to your work, and that's why I think. Starting December 30th is a little early for my taste, but what can you do? It's United Cup that's being played, and I'm motivated to go and play for Team Norway.
Where are you gonna be? I forgot. Are you gonna be in Perth or in Sydney?
No, Sydney.
Sydney. Oh, that's good. What about just one more thing about holidays? Cross country skiing, is that something you do?
I haven't done it in years because I prefer to go downhill. Downhill skiing is more fun in my eyes, but I don't. I'm kind of not allowed to go because in case of injury and I fall or I hit by someone or I hit someone, so it's a big risk for athletes to do these things. So there are a lot of things that we kind of can't do, but I'll hit the slopes or the tracks again after my career.
Yes, you still have plenty of time after that, so don't stress. All right, let's talk about what happened since the US Open, Casper. Obviously, I mean, we'll talk about Paris in a little bit, but how was the Asian swing for you? How did you enjoy that?
It was interesting. I mean, there were a couple of tournaments that I hadn't played before. First of all, I mean, we went to Laver Cup, which was disappointment for Team Europe. Maybe I shouldn't have brought it up, but
well, you did.
We got killed this year by Team World. Team World played great, so they deserve to win definitely. But we'll come back stronger in the years to come. So it's good for the competition that Team World can win a bit as well. And then we went directly to Asia. No, it was nice. First Beijing, Shanghai, first time I'd been there, and surprised me in a very positive way how good it was. The tournaments were great, and Shanghai was a really cool city, I must say. And it's a big city. It's like almost 30 million people living in the whole kind of area.
Yeah.
In Norway, we're like 6 million people, so it's like 5 times Norway in one city, which for me seems unreal sometimes. But it was really cool, and it's a place and a tournament that I look forward to playing again in the future. And it was a fun trip. I mean, I think I played quite well. I lost a couple of tough matches. Obviously, Beijing, I lost to Alcaraz, and then
how was that playing against Alcaraz? Because before, I think you played really well. Alcaraz lost then the match afterwards. How was that experience there?
No, it was good. I mean, Carlos, I think, just played really, really well. I'm not sure what he would say about the match, but I was prepared for a tough match, obviously, and I think it was. I think they were a little closer maybe than what the scoreline kind of said in the end, but there were a lot of long games, close games, good rallies. So it's always tough, but fun to play Carlos because he's very athletic. He has every shot in the book, so he typically comes up with something great at any match he plays. But it's something to learn from, and if you want to compete with the one of the best players in the world, he's great to play with. And it had been a while since we played. It was US Open final last year, so it gone over a year, and I was really impressed by how even from back then, the US Open final, how many kind of how much he'd improved.
In which particular way you feel like he's improved?
I think just more mature. He's like he seems a little bigger, a little stronger physically, and obviously he was still very strong and so quick back then already, but little more mature and not as many. At least when we played, I think obviously he plays so aggressive and so great many times, but sometimes it seems like he might, beat himself a little. He goes for almost too much, at least in my eyes. I mean, I'm not going to criticize him any more than this because he's a great player, but sometimes, when you hit all these crazy shots, it's kind of tempting to go for an even crazier one, you know what I mean? But I think he's understood that, not most of the tennis matches that he's going to win is not won by playing crazy shots after crazy shots. It's more about stability, and I think he played more kind of calm in a way than before, and that's can be dangerous when you have the strength and the quickness that he has and the power, and combined with cleverness on court can be a very, very, as we've seen this year, great combo.
Yes. Unbelievable. Coming back to you and your time in Asia, how much were you interested in the culture? I saw at some point that you were, discovering some traditions and doing some stuff away from the courts as well. How was that experience? It's always nice that you take a bit of time to do something different as well, right? Or were you forced?
Yeah, it was in Beijing. We went to this like typical Chinese garden of some sort. I don't remember the name exactly, but inside the garden they had like a place and a couple of like rooms around, and in the rooms there was one room for making tea, like very traditional tea. One room had like instrument, like something you play kind of like with strings, like a guitar of some sort, like a Chinese version of a like an old ancient guitar. And then one room you learn how to kind of paint and draw, and the letters are so different, obviously, so I have no clue what you're drawing, but the guys were really nice, and they taught me, or I guess they put on a really nice exhibition for us.
Yeah, do you enjoy doing stuff like that?
Yeah, I do. I mean, and especially there where the culture is so different. I mean, it was probably something that I never had a chance to do again otherwise. So it was fun to try to do it there.
All right, let's forget Asia now. Basel. We have to talk about that because you had an amazing match against Bublik. Remember that one? I mean, you had some tremendous shot making there. He's one of the most trickiest players to play against. Talk about that experience.
Well, it's Bublik, or Sasha. He's also a good friend. I mean, we played so many times now against each other. So he's very easygoing guy, and of course he wants to win just like anyone else. But he's always very nice at the net after, and saying nice words, or always respecting his opponents. So at least when we play, so no, it's always fun, but it's tricky, like you said. I mean, his serve is so great, and he, in a way, has all the shots in the book. But then he does a lot of unorthodox things. Suddenly a drop shot, suddenly will come to the net, serve and volley, and sometimes he'll be on the defense, grinding and slicing around there. So, and yeah, there was a shot that I had never pulled off before in my life. So it was
the tweener.
Yeah, the tweener lob winner. It felt lucky. Honestly, I did try to pull off the shot, but it wasn't. But it's not something you expect to make. I knew that he was at the net, so I tried to hit the lob, but then I was fortunate that it landed just on the line. So I mean, it was close to going out. But that's something that I will remember for
forever.
Quite some time and look back at, and I can tell my friends or my, hopefully future kids or whatever that see, look at what your dad did back in the day. Yeah, it's a cool highlight of my career. And like I said, I don't typically hit these shots, so it's was a really good feeling. Maybe I should go for them more often.
I knew that there was a little bit of a curious in you. Obviously, loves.
Yeah. Yeah, I do it when I have no other choice. That's kind of, I guess, the difference. But if I have a choice, I'd rather hit a forehand or a backhand. But here, there was the only option, so I was lucky that it went in.
We were very, very impressed. I have to say, want to see more of that, Casper. one each tournament.
I'll try.
Okay, good. All right, now let's talk about Paris. You don't know who you're facing yet because it could be Guy Monfils. So Cerundolo. Let's talk about Guy Monfils. Obviously, he's played the great tennis in Stockholm. It'll definitely be a show. That's one thing which is for sure. How tricky is it to play against somebody like Monfils, for example? Because obviously with the entertainment and everything going on.
Well, I only played him once, and it was a lot of years ago. Or it was in 2018, so it's been over 5 years since the last time. But we're good friends off the court. We practice with each other every now and then, and we had a great time together during Laver Cup. He's a really nice guy, and he's played so many great matches, has so much experience. So you have to be ready for everything.
Maybe a quick word on Francisco Cerundolo in case you play against him. Great ball striker, isn't he?
Yes, he improved so much the last couple of years, and it's really, I'm very, very happy for him, and it's cool to see that someone that kind of, he's the same age as me, but no one knew about him in the juniors, for example, and most of us, we know about each other, and we kind of follow each other in a way in our careers. So he's kind of come a little out of nowhere in the last years, and that's really cool, a cool journey. And this we played each other twice this year. He won once, I won once, so it's going to be a tough one for sure. Both matches were tough, and he's a great player. What can you say? I mean, he's one of the best, maybe if not the best ranked Argentinian these days. So that says something, from a big tennis country, obviously Argentina, and he's had some great results. So it's going to be a really tough one. I'm going to just give it my all and hope that it's going to be my day.
Yeah, that's no easy first rounds anyway.
No.
Especially in those indoors tournaments, you just have to take it how it is. Casper, are you ready for a little quiz?
Yes, let's do it.
Let's do the Paris-Bercy quiz.
Oh, wow.
All right. Who has won Bercy the most times ever, you think? Have a guess.
I would go for Novak.
Yes, he won it 6 times. Tsonga was the last Frenchman to lift up the trophy, but who was the one to win before him in 2001? I give you some options. Is it A, Guy Forget, B, Cédric Pioline, or C, Sébastien Grosjean?
Oh.
You can go eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Maybe Pioline? Grosjean?
Yes, it was Grosjean.
Okay.
Now, a family question. How many matches did your dad, Christian Ruud, ever play in Bercy? A, none, B, 2, or C, 5? You have to know that.
Oh, I'm going to go for 2. I don't know.
No, he's never won a match there.
Oh, they've never won.
Okay. Oh, he's never played a match there, actually. That's incredible.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I
can't believe you haven't spoken to your dad about that.
No.
bring it up at breakfast.
Yeah, I will later.
All right, now we talk about the tennis world. Let's speak about some of the interesting topics. There's some new guys who have popped up. I mean, Ben Shelton, for example, let's call him still a new guy because this is his breakthrough season. It's incredible. He won his first title in Tokyo as well. I mean, he's just getting better and better each week, each month as well, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Really impressed me, in Tokyo. Incredible fighting spirit from Ben. And he never gives up. He keeps fighting, keeps hustling. And I've seen it many times before. He's he has great attitude. In a way, you kind of feel surprised how fast it's gone for him, but I'm not surprised at the same time because he played really well there and showcased his skills, and the serve was incredible, and already back then. So he's going to be dangerous for years to come, and yeah, going to improve. That's what most people do. They improve year by year, and as long as he keeps the right attitude and keeps working hard, there's no limit for how great things he can achieve. So he's going to be a tough competitor for years to come, and I wish I had that arm to be able
Yes.
to serve like 140, 145 miles an hour. It seems like a dream.
Plus being a lefty, obviously, it's
Yeah,
so good. You know what?
tricky.
Yeah, the second year is always the toughest. When you had your breakthrough year on the tour, as you would know. I mean, it'll be interesting to watch him closely next year. A word on Holger Rune and Boris Becker. How surprised were you here that Boris is gonna be with Holger now? And do you think it's a good match? What do you think Boris can add? And do you think it's gonna work out?
Well, I think it's a cool matchup. First of all, two cool characters together, and Boris is someone that can bring experience to Holger's game. He's a great player already and has a very, very big potential, but he's still young, so maybe that's what he's lacking mostly. This at this time during his career is some experience to kind of from someone who's done great things for many, many years, like Boris. So I don't know that. I guess I don't know why Holger felt like that was the right call for him. But looking from the outside, that might be one of the reasons. And it's cool. I mean, Holger's had help from Patrick before, and now he's moved on to Boris. So he's obviously seeking some experience and some good coaching, and I think it worked pretty well for him in Basel until he made a semi-final, and it's going to be a cool matchup to watch closely in the time to come.
All right, let's move on to a debate. Jensen Brooksby was suspended for 18 months, failing to report his whereabouts. That's called a no-show. Tests. It's a pretty simple question. Do you think it's fair or unfair, that decision which has been made to ban?
Well, I think it's the same as Eber, Michael. Happened a bit earlier this year. So
yeah.
I think the punishment is too long. 18 months is, you lose like almost, in a way, like 3 years almost of your career, because 18 months is a year and a half, and then it'll take you about a year, maybe more, to kind of, obviously he's good enough to come back to the top 100. He's a good enough player, but you're not just going to win every tournament you come back. I sympathize a lot with Michael this summer, because I said, like, I know sometimes how stressful it can be with these whereabouts, and a lot of people would say, well, how hard can it be? Just to kind of follow this should be very easy, but honestly, it's not always that simple. With flights, changing of schedule, it's not necessarily the first thing you remember to do every single day, and I have done mistakes myself. I had warnings before, but I have never got to 3, which is in this case where they put the limit. I've had 1 warning, so, and you kind of feel like you, not gonna say that you live in prison, but you always have it in the back of your mind. Can be
You're
a bit
not free.
Yeah, in a way. I mean, there have been certain episodes where I've had because you have to give 1 hour. The rule is you have to give 1 specific hour or an hour during a specific time of the day in an address. Where you'll be or where you have to be. So the most reasonable thing is to put it in the morning. In your wherever you're sleeping. And the thing is, like, I'm just going to give you an example of how things can change. Like, for example, let's say I put it at 7 in the morning, because typically from 7 to 8 I'm at home. I have to be 7 to 8, but maybe let's say one day I'm invited to play golf early in the morning. So I leave like, let's say I leave like 6:30 or 7 back from my place. and maybe I don't want to have breakfast, so I don't want to stay in my apartment for 1 hour. So maybe I change the time to like evening. I change it from 9 to 10 because I plan, the day before to have dinner at home, or I stay home. But then, maybe during my round of golf, Maria, my girlfriend, asks, hey, should we go for dinner with this? I have a couple of friends who are going out tonight. Do you want to come? And then you have to kind of say, no, I can't, because in case the doping control arrives at my house at 9 or 10, I have to be there. So this is just one example of how sometimes tricky it can be. And it's not maybe too easy to understand for people how it works, but this is just an example of how you can kind of miss out on something. And maybe I say, maybe I say, well, yeah, I want to come. And then maybe I forgot that I had changed the time in the first place. So there are a lot of situations where you can kind of forget, not because you don't want to do it, but you just simply forget. We're all humans. But obviously, when you have got 1 or 2 mistakes, you have to be really, really careful. And in this case, to get to 3 mistakes, there has to be somewhat of a punishment. But I think 18 months is just too much in my eyes.
Yeah, you have to be very, very organized, and it's unbelievable. Restricting. And I saw for example, one doping test he's missed. Apparently he was actually in that hotel and he was staying together with his physio, and the room was under the physio's name, so he was actually there, but they couldn't find him. So it's it's crazy. I think do you think it should be it should be reformed, the anti-doping system, how they do their doping tests and stuff like that, or do you think it should stay this way?
Well, I mean, the doping control is of course, don't get me wrong, I'm in favor. It's important. It's needed to be there because you want to catch the cheaters or whatever, but and I understand the kind of element of surprise that needs to be involved with the doping tests. You can't be alerted in advance because, from what I've understood, you can kind of mix and tricks with certain things. You can kind of drink and so on to make your urine clean, and that's something you don't want. So the element of surprise has to be there, and the doping control has to be there. It's just that I think this punishment is a bit too hard, and I think it's fair that they test a lot of times during the year. And I do think that tennis is maybe one of the sports that gets tested the most, because I saw statistics 1 year that I had been tested close to, like, I think it was maybe 27 times in a year, which is more than once every second week, which is a lot if you compare to other sports. And I think individual sports, particularly tennis, is tested a lot. But in a way, it's fair and it's needed. I mean, I'm not against anti-doping or anything. It's just that I think this whereabouts system, I empathize because I know it can be tricky myself, and I understand. And I just think that 18 months is too much. So, but the way they test and the way they do it, I have no problem with it. You just have to watch out for this whereabouts thing. Just one thing I can also say is, maybe it sounds silly, but like typically, like I said, I have it in the morning, and then let's say I have it from 7 to 8 in the morning. I have the hour, and let's say I wake up during the night at like 6:15. I wake up by myself because I have to pee so much. I really need to go, like, to pee. Typically, you do maybe once during the night. This is, like I said, it will sound silly, but you're kind of thinking, oh, maybe they come up at 7. Maybe they show up at 7. I shouldn't go because I want to save it. Because if I go and I empty my bladder at 6:15, maybe I won't get to pee until like 10. Because you cannot just pee whenever you want. So certain things that kind of I think about this. This is why I feel sometimes you live in like under watch, or like in some prison, because you can, of course, but it's smart not to pee, just like right before they might come. So it's like it's just a little stressful at some situations, but and like I said, this is the last time I will say it, but I just think that 18 months is too much for something like this.
Casper Ruud and his peeing tactics.
Yeah. Like I said, it will sound silly, but it is actually.
No, it's not. I mean, I've had to do doping tests and stuff, but we didn't have those kind of doping tests. But I was always a good customer because I always had to pee. Anyway, change the subject.
Yeah.
Just quickly at the end, let's have a little bit of fun. Novak Djokovic, he played a little bit of golf at the Ryder Cup. I'm sure you were glued to the TV watching the Ryder Cup as well. Did you watch a bit of Novak as well? What do you think about his swing? What do you think about his golf? Have you played with him?
No, I haven't, and it was unfortunate, or I was sad because I was in China and I couldn't watch it anywhere. They're pretty strict with what you can watch over there, so I wasn't able to find streaming or to kind of stream it from anywhere. They block off most of like Western streaming and media kind of platforms, so it's it was unfortunate. But I did watch like some highlights. But I wasn't able to watch it live. I just followed live score, and I watched some of Novak's swings, which really impressed me. Because I have talked to him before about whether he plays golf or not, and he told me he didn't play much. But I actually met him yesterday in Paris here, where he told me that he had done a couple of classes actually to prepare for Ryder Cup because he didn't want to show up and be like really, really bad. So I think that improved, and he's a multi-talent when it comes to sports. So I mean, seems like he can do anything these days, and it was fun to see. I think he enjoyed it, and he told me he got quite hooked on golf, and thinks it's really fun to play, and then maybe he will play more in the future.
You should, and next year you should be there at the Ryder Cup.
Yeah,
it's gonna be scheduled at the same time again, where you in Asia. Maybe you just have to skip that tournament.
I was invited to come and watch and play this year, but I had to. What should I say? Prioritize my career this time, but in the future.
Exactly. Lots of things coming up in the future. Playing golf at the Ryder Cup, downhill skiing, cross country skiing.
A lot of things I can do.
Still have to, and you know what we have to do? We have to organize this event, Club and Rackets. Remember, we talked about it last time. So when you have a bit more time, we'll should do this for sure. All right, Casper. Believe it or not, but we've done well today.
Yeah.
All the best for Paris for the rest of the season, and yes, I'm looking forward to catch you again soon.
Thank you, Barbara. We'll maybe see you in Australia then.
Yes, I guess so. I'll see you in Sydney.
Yes. All right.
Thank you.
Guys, bye-bye.